woke up and decided this week ain't gon' carry what last week tried to leave on me. I put the heaviness down before my feet even hit the floor. Ain't no room in my spirit for recycled stress or secondhand energy. I got kids to love, a house to hold, and a mind that still belongs to me. Faith first, peace protected, boundaries locked. That's the only way I know how to walk in the Monday without losing myself. I'm ready, clap if you feel that shift. I'm ready, it's the recipe, I made the mix. I'm ready, old vibes don't get to ride with me. I'm ready. I used to let the noise sit at my table like it pay rent. Now I check the guest list before anything gets a seat. Special needs mama, full-time warrior. Still learning how to rest without guilt, but I refuse to start another week already depleted. I stir in gratitude, a little quiet, and the kind of strength that don't need to announce itself. That's how I stay elevated without performing for nobody. I'm ready, clap if you feel that shift. I'm ready, it's the recipe, I made the mix. I'm ready, old vibes don't get to ride with me. I'm ready. They keep asking how I keep going. I tell them the truth, I protect the peace God gave me. I move with intention, and I don't let the week begin if my spirit ain't present. I'm ready, clap if you feel that shift. I'm ready, it's the recipe, I made the mix. I'm ready, old vibes don't get to ride with me. I'm ready, new week, clean slate. I'm ready.
Everything she ever wanted was already in her eyes, a reflection of her dreams, her memories, her truth. Mind Chaos Brew, unlock the power within.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How you doing? So we are starting your week off, right, honey? Because there's a lot of things we need to talk about. And I just wanted to dance with y'all, vibe with y'all a little bit as y'all come into the door. Hey, KKC. Now, y'all see the title of today's show. Not everything from yesterday deserves a place in tomorrow. So what I'm coming to talk to y'all about in this show is, hold on a second, because I think I do. And I did write down notes for this because I want to make sure that the message is heard and heard well. Growth is not only about what we gain, it's also about what we release, redefine, and refuse to carry forward, right? So as you guys all know, you are here with me, Raji, on Mind Chaos Brew. And today I want to talk to you about the painful side of growth. The part that people leave out of motivational quotes, right? Growth is not only gaining new things. Sometimes growth is deleting, releasing, editing, ending, outgrowing, and admitting. Yeah, this mattered to me once, but it doesn't belong where I'm going, right? And I'm going to say that again because a lot of people don't truly understand that part about growth. Growth is knowing that something mattered to you once, but it does not belong where you're going. Okay? Now, this can apply to habits, relationships, identity, commitments, old arguments, old dreams, and even versions of ourselves that once helped us survive. Not everything from yesterday deserves a place in tomorrow. Okay? Now, for those of you that catch the replay, you could put in the comments, I'm making room. I will be hearting and responding to everybody putting in the comments that I am making room. So let's get into it. There's a couple of parts to this. It's a complex topic, right? Letting go doesn't mean it never mattered. One reason we struggle to release things is because we think letting go invalidates the time we invested. We say, I've spent years building this. I gave that relationship everything. I fought way too hard to walk away. I put too much time into it, into becoming this person. That is the sunk cost trap of life. We keep paying for yesterday because we're afraid to admit yesterday's investment cannot guarantee tomorrow's return. Let me break that line down for you a little bit more. Everything you put into yesterday does not mean you're going to get any benefit from it tomorrow. As soon as you start seeing that it's a loss, that it's negative, it's like throwing good money after bad, you have to let it go. Right? But something can have been real, meaningful, successful, or necessary and still be complete. It's over with. It's done. A bridge is valuable because it gets you across, right? You do not carry the bridge on your back once you reach the other side. If you have reached the other side, honey, then let me know you're ready. Because some chapters taught you how to speak. Some taught you how to defend yourself. Some taught you what you'll never tolerate again. Some taught you what kind of life you actually want. And the fact that you no longer need the lesson in its original form does not make the lesson worthless. You can say it mattered then, it taught me something, and I am still releasing it. Some identities are built for survival. Sometimes we become a version of ourselves because that version was necessary. Maybe you became hyper independent because nobody showed up. Maybe you became combative because gentleness was mistaken for weakness. Maybe you became silent because honesty was punished. Maybe you became the fixer because chaos surrounded you. Survival identities are not character flaws, they're adaptations. But eventually, we have to ask whether the armor that protected us in one season is preventing intimacy, peace, and growth in the next. You cannot hug people properly while wearing a full suit of armor. You cannot receive help while insisting you never need anyone. You cannot build peace while remaining emotionally prepared for war every day. Growth is not hating the person you were. Growth is thanking that version of yourself for getting you here and allowing this version to rest. Let's not forget, you have the right to change your mind. The internet makes people feel that changing your mind is hypocrisy. Oh, you was all rah, sparkles and glitter today, so you got to be that forever. And wrong. Nobody has the right to tell you who you have to be forever. And there's a lot of people on the internet too that like to pretend like they're all calm, peaceful, and serene, and really they're turned up queens 3000. Okay, they just undercover, which speaks a little bit to some inner issues that they may or may not have. But if you believe something 5 years ago, somebody will find the clip and demand that you remain permanently loyal to that old perspective. And guess what? You don't have to. Nobody can make you. They want you to stay that person so that they can quantify who you are. And it's okay to give people a business card and say, hey, that version of me no longer exists. Here's my new card. I have a new address. It is what it is. But wisdom should evolve when information, experience, and understanding evolves. Unfortunately, we live in a world where a lot of people don't really take in information, nor do they understand the information that comes across their face. So therefore, they never evolve. Don't be that person. Okay. Changing your mind does not automatically mean you were dishonest then. It may mean that you are more informed now, which is always a good thing, right? There is integrity in saying, I used to see this differently. I understand the consequences more clearly now. I no longer want to participate in that. If you can do that, that's dope. That means that you have an elevated mindset. Hey, Coconut Surreal, how you doing today? Good morning. People who benefited from the old version of you may resist the new one, right? Because, like I said, some people are very comfortable keeping you in a box that they can understand. Once you start elevating past their level of understanding, that may become uncomfortable for them. Don't let it be uncomfortable for you. If your lack of boundaries made someone comfortable, your healing may feel like rejection to them. And that's okay. If your reaction gave people entertainment, your restraints may disappoint them. And that's okay. If your constant availability made life easier for others, your boundaries may suddenly be labeled selfish. That doesn't mean the boundary is wrong. Understand that. People want you to stay how you are usable for them, how you are convenient for them, how you are beneficial for them. But life is a one person POV game, all right? So you can't benefit everybody and be diminishing yourself. Now, editing your life is not erasing your history. I want you to think about how an editor works, right? An editor does not declare every removed scene worthless. Heck, some people even put them on, sizzle reels, the bloopers. Okay. The editor asks whether the scene serves the final story. That's the question we must sometimes ask about our own lives. Does this still serve the story that I'm building? Not did this ever matter? Not did I once love it? Not did people applaud it? Does it still serve the final story? Some things are excellent memories, but poor directions, right? Some people were important chapters, but cannot be the co-authors of your future. Some victories became cages when we feel obligated to recreate them forever. And this is very interesting because this is a pattern of behavior that I see, especially in social media places all the time. Someone finds a niche, they find an audience, they find an algorithm, and they feel slave to the matrix. Ew, I gotta do this, otherwise I'm not gonna be seen. Those are people that want to be counted. And while it's cool for people to really be in alignment with your perspective, if you're a human being, again, your perspective should always be evolving. If you find yourself the same person you were 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you have to do some self-reflection and ask yourself, is that actually where I want to be? You are allowed to edit. You are allowed to refine. You are allowed to say, hey, this no longer represents me. And you don't owe anybody any justification for it. Now, we also need to talk about when inclusion becomes another form of exclusion, right? So sometimes what needs to remain in yesterday is a old definition of belonging. And I've been thinking about this idea for a little while. Inclusion can become exclusion. And that's a pretty heavy weighted theory, right? Now, I'm not saying inclusion is bad. I'm saying that poorly designed inclusion can recreate the very harm it claims to solve, right? People get together in friend groups because they want to fight a cause, because they want to change the world or whatever. they tell themselves, right? The inclusion in that group, it goes back to the topic I spoke about the other day with people not being your friends. Everybody ain't your friend. Everybody ain't your partner. Same thing goes with groups. If belonging requires everyone to speak the same way, think the same way, agree on every issue, heal on the same schedule, or perform the same version of acceptable behavior, that is not inclusion. That is conformity wearing a friendly name. Because let us never forget, presence is not the same as participation. Access is not the same as belonging. An invitation does not mean the room was prepared for you. Catch. A lot of people really believe that if they have access or if they're part of the in crowd or the number or this group or that group or whatever, that they belong. You don't belong. Somebody might just want to be using you for something. Some people might just be playing in your face. I think it's very interesting to me. I think one movie that really illustrates this point is Carrie. It's like an 80s movie where this girl was an outcast and then she got invited to the prom. So it was an invitation. The room wasn't really prepared for her because at the end of it, she got doused with, a bucket of pigs, blood or whatever. So they were really just inviting her there to act a fool. Another movie that is very indicative of this is Dinner for Schmucks. These people went out and looked for idiots to bring them to dinner so that they could get a prize. Hey, YouTube unfolded. Good morning. Good morning. An invitation does not mean the room was prepared for you. Sometimes a group says everyone is welcome, but there's only one approved way to be welcome. You may enter, but you can't ask the wrong questions. You may speak, but only if your story supports the group's preferred conclusion. You may disagree, but only in ways that do not make anyone feel uncomfortable. You may be different, but your difference must remain convenient. This is where inclusion begins to produce exclusion. It can happen through strict norms. A narrow standard is created for what a good, safe, supportive, or inclusive person must look like. Anyone who communicates, processes, or participates differently is treated as a problem. It can happen through belonging conflicts. People spend more energy policing who qualifies for the group than building a culture where people can contribute honestly. And people police groups from the outside as well. It's not always the interior of the group that is trying to set these standards of belonging and who fits where and why and how. It's outside people too. That's why I always believe it's good to be a free agent. I think it's always best to be amenable and kind to people, but always be able to detach and separate. Not out of malice, because sometimes, as I stated earlier, things no longer serve. And when they no longer serve, you have to do what? Protect your peace. But it can happen through forced labeling, like when a group of friends are minding their business and people put a label on them that they never put on themselves, which is always weird. It could be a person is singled out as the special case, the example, or the representative when they're really not. They are technically included, but constantly reminded that they're not part of the assumed norm. Oh, yes, coconuts are real. Catch the replay. Thank you. And it can happen through superficial fixes. The language changes, the statements changes, the rules on paper change, but the culture remains rigid, dismissive, and unwilling to listen. And if you guys catch my previous live, you will hear where I talked about micro groups within macro groups within whole terrariums. Like, this is a real thing. Sometimes a macro group will police a micro group because a micro group has created their own cultural norms and acceptability. So then their inclusive behavior with one another becomes an exclusion from the macro group, which is really crazy, but it is what it is. That kind of inclusion is exhausting because it asks people to be visible without giving them the safety to be real. And y'all already know, when it comes down to me, if I can't be 100, thou wow, me, I don't want to be bothered. And me being 1,000% me sometimes is very devastating to people. I really don't understand why. Because the people that I find always have a problem with me, like that find me so devastating. These are the same people that always would scream around how they have the ability to be whoever they are. There's a control mechanism as well. We will talk about that in a later episode. But real inclusion is belonging without erasure. It's participation without performance. It's support without forced sameness. So how do we do better? We focus on people's actual needs instead of forcing one fixed solution on everyone. We build flexibility into the room from the beginning instead of treating accommodations as an inconvenience later. We listen for the people who have become quiet. Hey, Almanaz, good morning. Hey, LV the Showman, good morning. Silence does not always mean agreement. Sometimes it means a person has learned that honesty will cost them belonging. We allow respectful disagreement. A healthy community does not require identical minds. It requires shared respect, clear boundaries, and enough maturity to remain human when perspectives differ. And I think that's where a lot of yesterday goes wrong, right? A lot of people in your yesterday will want you to have the same perspective as them. And then when you don't, they'll be animals. I said it. They'll be purely rabid dogs, silverback gorillas. It is what it is. If you cannot maintain humanity when disagreeing with someone, that's also a time for you to do some self-reflection, because maybe you are not fit for human consumption. And a lot of people get to going off in that vein of thought and that behavioral path, and then they become insidious and infectious to everyone around them. Again, these are further shows that we will be delving into these topics, okay? And we must stop measuring inclusion by how many different people entered the room. Oh, did I say that part? I did. We also asked whether they could participate, contribute, disagree, receive report, and remain themselves once they got there. See, again, if I can't be myself, honey, you keep it. You can only keep it. I don't need it. I don't want it. No, thank you. The goal is not to force everyone to fit the room. The goal is to build a room flexible enough for people to enter as themselves. Come on in room. Right, YouTube? I wrote the fact. Some definitions of belonging helped us survive yesterday, but they are too narrow for tomorrow. And I know, but tomorrow, that's my song. Tomorrow, I give my life. Tomorrow, y'all ain't ready. But if the old rule says you can belong only if you become more like us, that rule deserves to remain in the past. Good intentions may open the door, but listening, flexibility, support, and respect are what allow people to remain in the room. I have a question for y'all that are watching. Have you ever been invited into a space but still felt pressured to erase part of yourself in order to belong? Put that in the chat for y'all. so y'all can ruminate on that. Even those of y'all catching the replay. While you're ruminating on that, let's get into the next portion of this. Selective responses are a sign of growth. Growth does not mean that you'll never respond to anything, right? Let's be real. Sometimes you're going to respond. Sometimes the people, they just going to keep poking and poking and poking until they get mauled by the bear. It is what it is. But it means you become selective. You ask whether the response serves truth, safety, accountability, education, or the public interest. You stop responding merely because someone demands access to you, right? Because that's really what a lot of people's attitudes, behaviors, patterns is, because they don't have access. And in my personal life, I've seen this be really a spike over the past couple of months. People, where's Robbie? Why Robbie's not here? Robbie. Listen, stop saying my name. Mean it. Because unless you're interested in having an honest conversation that's going to be beneficial to society as a whole, I'm not interested. Unless you hit my Cash App. If you want to hit the Cash App, $Butterfly Progressive, you send me some money, then you may be worthy of a response. But more likely than not, no. And I'm going to tell you why. Because every invitation does not require attendance. Every accusation does not require a trial. And every misunderstanding does not require a presentation. Every person who mentions your name does not deserve a chapter in your story. Sometimes protecting your future means refusing to keep yesterday's argument alive. Because you do not have to win every old battle. Some battles are won by no longer living on the battlefield. Let me say this again to you. Facts. Some battles are won by no longer living on the battlefield. People want you to stay there with them because that's the only place they feel alive. And for those people, we have to pray for them. I want to say we got to pity them a little bit. I know saying that you pity someone can sound a little harsh, but I think it's kind of pitiful that some people only are alive when they're angry. I wish for them joy. I wish for them peace. What's up, Elevate Me? How you doing this morning? Good morning. I wish for them peace. I wish for them to be, living in the world and letting go of the things that make them so conflicted and worked up inside of their bodies. Like, that's too much. And I'm not going to hold you. Letting go can still hurt. We often assume that the right decision should feel peaceful immediately. Newsflash, it doesn't. Okay. Sometimes it does not. Sometimes it does not. Sometimes the right decision hurts because you are releasing something that held memories, identity, effort, hope, and proof that you once accomplished something. Grief is not always evidence that you made the wrong choice. Sometimes grief is simply love adjusting to a new reality. You can cry and still continue. You can miss something and know it should remain in the past. You can feel uncertain and still recognize that staying costs more. Healing is not always a beautiful sunrise. Morning is here, the sun has come. It's not always sparkles and glitter. It's not. Sometimes healing looks like sitting in a quiet room after finally closing the door and wondering who you are without the noise. Give yourself time to meet that person. That's when you be, you know what I'm saying? You look in the mirror, you be like, hey, girl. And you know what I'm saying? Your mirror be like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Y'all have a good conversation with yourself. Hey, Lady Quantum. Hey, Young Riaz. Good morning. Know yourself. Y'all be out here studying your ops, studying your enemies, finding reasons to be upset, but you don't know a bit more about who you are. Let's kind of leave that in yesterday. And then you got to ask yourself this: what are you making room for? Right? And the credit for this actually goes to one of my cousins. One of my cousins tells me all the time, good morning, Seafree. Good morning. Good morning, Lady Quantum. My cousin tells me all the time, you have to start manifesting. You have to start manifesting. And, you know, my cousin's not pushy. I love her to death. She's not pushy. She says things and she plants these little seeds, right? So it's been a few months where she implanted this seed. And me, I'm stubborn. I'm hard-headed. I'm not going to hold you. I really am. So I had to sit and really ruminate on it in myself. And I'm like, manifest what? Manifest how? Manifest why? But you know, when you get wisdom from good counsel, you have to take that wisdom. You have to, you know, or you will, rather, if you have good sense. Yes, manifest. It is a beautiful Monday. It is a beautiful Monday. So releasing something should not only be about what you're leaving behind yesterday, right? You have to now ask yourself, what are you creating space to receive? More peace, better relationships, purposeful work, a healthier marriage, deeper faith, more intentional creativity, time with your children, rest. Y'all, what I tell y'all, I had the best weekend ever. I ain't go nowhere, y'all. I ain't did nothing. I watched me 2 documentaries on Netflix on Saturday, y'all. And I promise you, Sunday, I was just in and out of sleep all day, which is why I'm up at the crack of the morning doing this live with y'all. Okay? Because I was like, well, I'm up. I got energy and I got time before I start work. Let me go ahead and put this out in the ether and start y'all week off right. Yes. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Yes. It starts with action. Yes. Speaking into existence. Yes. Okay. Because a life that is not organized around proving something to people who never intended to understand you. Okay. That type of life is insane. You cannot organize your life around that. Otherwise, you'll be screaming like a banshee all day and all night, trying to make people believe something, everything, anything. Why? They don't matter. Empty space can feel frightening when you're accustomed to chaos. And there are people out here that are really, especially on social media apps, they need to click that live button. They be itching and scratching. I need that money, man. I gotta hit the live button. I need the chaos. Enjoy that empty space. Don't rush to fill it. Let peace become familiar. Let quiet stop feeling like abandonment. Let your next chapter develop without forcing it to imitate the previous one. Because that's something that y'all got to think about too. A lot of people always say they change you something, they let something go, and then you know, they cross your purvey again a few months later and they still on the same energy that they swore to God that they was leaving behind. What happened? Where that? I don't know. But for those of y'all that'll catch this in the replay, and those of you that are with me now, I have some questions for you. What is something you've outgrown but struggled to release because you invested so much into it? I'm going to tell you one of mine. Y'all, I had a short on my page that had almost 2 million views. And I did like a major purge on my channel over the past couple of weeks, which really was the the catalyst and the inspiration for this show as well. And when I tell you I was in here going through it a little bit, there was a little bit of grief. Even that almost 2 million views short had to go. It was a struggle, but I did it. I could say I feel more at peace now. So whatever you're struggling with, it may not be as petty as videos on the channel, but release it, let it go. Let it go. It's in the moment you'll be like, I don't want to, but then you just got to. You'll feel better, trust me. And you don't have to share details. Just name the category: a habit, a relationship, a job, a mindset, an identity, old conflict, or an old definition of belonging. And here's my second question. What are you making room for now? For me, I can tell you, I'm making room to be in the highest honors for my profession. So a lot of things that I made time for, I allowed myself to participate in. I can't make time for that anymore. Onward and upward. But y'all just put one word in the chat if you need to. Peace, faith, creativity, family, health, education, love, purpose, belonging, whatever works for you. And as I let you all get on your grind for your week, grinding, okay? Remember that not everything from yesterday deserves a place in tomorrow. Some things deserve gratitude. Some deserve forgiveness. Hey, Jill, good morning. Yes, love. It's always about that love, honey. Yes. Some deserve a lesson. And some deserve an archive. And some deserve a final goodbye. That includes old wounds, old relationships, old arguments, and old definitions of belonging that require people to erase themselves just to enter the room. Mentally prepared. Stay mentally prepared. Get mentally prepared. Be mentally prepared. I've been telling people about mental preparedness since the first day I ever came on social media and allowed my voice to be heard. That is one thing that will never change here. The channels may change, the branding may change, but the soul and the heart of it all is never going to change. I'm serious about that. Tomorrow must make space for growth, flexibility, individuality, and genuine belonging. If it's not genuine, I don't want nothing to do with it. And I'm praying for that mindset for each and every one of you. The goal is not to become ashamed of your past. You've already lived that life. Which is another thing, like when people look into people's past and they want to pull up information, so what? People have already lived their life. They already did what they wanted to do. They've already been that person. It's fascinating to you. I don't think anybody ever thinks about that. It's news to you. Is you good? Is you good? The goal is to stop allowing your past to make decisions for your future. You're not betraying the person you were. You are fulfilling the reason you kept going. Honor yourself by choosing a future worth everything you have already survived. And if this conversation spoke to you, like the live, subscribe to Mind Chaos Brew, and share it with somebody standing between an ending and a beginning. It mattered then. It doesn't have to follow you forward. Fly free, family, because it's a privilege. And with that, also remember to support the show. Is this the one for support the show? Let me see. Is it gonna play or no? Oh no, look at me pressing the wrong thing, doing too much. This is the one. Support the show, you guys, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Take care. Peace.